Hey guys, welcome back to Maxim Automation. Today in this video, we'll discuss about the XPath functions and wildcards. In our last video, we have seen that how to use different XPath access to locate the element. Now sometimes we need different methods or wildcards to create the XPath expression for locating the web element. Now let's see that how can we use those methods or wildcards in creating our XPath. So I have this web table with me. And if I locate the employee record table with XPath and then to a TD tag which contains text as Mark Taylor. Now first let's see the different wildcards supported in XPath. We can use these wildcards while creating our XPath. The first wildcard which we can use is asterisk. Here you can see that I have used the TD tag to identify a node which is of type TD. Now if I replace the TD tag with asterisk sign, then you can see that it is still identify the same node. So this wildcard can be used to match any node. Similarly, I can replace this table with this wildcard as well. And you can see that it still identifies the element. Now instead of node, you can also use this wildcard for attribute as well. Here you can see that I have used this attribute ID to locate the element. Now if I replace this ID with asterisk sign, then again it's gonna return the same element. When we use this wildcard instead of attribute name, then it will match for any attribute which has the value as employee record. To identify any node, we can use node as well instead of asterisk sign. This wildcard is also gonna match the node of any type. Similarly, I can replace it here as well. Now the next wildcard which we can use is dot. If I give dot sign like this, then this will match the current node itself. So this is equivalent to the self access. Self access is also used to match the context node. So you can either use the self access or dot to match the current node. Now instead of single dot, if I use two dots, then it's gonna match the parent node of the context node. So to identify the parent node, we can either use the parent access or can use the two dots for the same. So that was all about the wildcard which we can use while creating our XPath. Now there are some predefined methods as well which we can use in our XPath. So let's see those functions. To identify the last TD tag, we can use the last method. This method returns a number which is equal to the context size. Here you can see that it highlighted the last TD tag for each row, as we have multiple rows over here. Now if I change it to tr and use the last method, then you can see that it highlighted the last row. Now let's say that the element which you are looking for is having ID or any unique attribute that contains the value which is changing every time. But the value always starts with some fixed string. Let's suppose that we are getting the ID of this element as employee as a fixed string. And after that, you're getting any kind of random values, might be some numeric characters. So if you have that kind of values for an attribute, so you can always use methods like starts with. This method checks whether the first string starts with the second string and then returns true or false. Let's pass the attribute in the first argument and then pass the string which you are looking for. Suppose in our case, employee is the fixed string, and after that, we are getting some random values each time. So I'll look for the attribute whose values start with EMP. Here you can see that it identifies the element. Though we are getting two results here, because ID values for both the tables starts with EMP. After that, we have another function called as position. Let's suppose that you want to select any specific row. Then you can use position method and create the expression like select the item whose position value is 3 or any other number based on the requirement. Let's say that I want to get the data of third row and second column. Then I can use position for TD tag as well. And this will return the data for the specific cell. Now we have another function which is most commonly used is substring. This method returns the part of a given string. In first argument, we have to pass the string which we want to evaluate. Then pass the start index value of the substring, and then the length of the substring. This argument is optional. If you don't provide the length, then it will return the substring from the start position to the end of the string. So here I want to fetch the first 3 characters. So I have given the start position as 1 and the length of the substring is 3. Then I can create the expression that the substring should be equals to employee. And it returns the element where this expression matches. Then we have another method called as substring after. This function returns a rest of string after a given substring. Let's say that I want to get the substring after the underscore sign. Then I can use substring after method like this. This method is gonna return the string value after underscore. And if I say that match the element which substring is equal to record, then you can see that it highlighted this element. Now, if I change the value as DOB, then you can see that now it is highlighting to this element. Then we have substring before method as well, where we can get the part of the string before a given substring. Now here, if I change it to before, then this method is gonna return the value as employee, because that is the part of string which comes before the substring, that is underscore. And if I change the value over here, then you can see that now it returned 2 elements. Now there is another most commonly used function, that is string length. Let's say that you only want to match the last 3 characters of the string. In that case, you can use the string length function inside the substring method. String length function returns the length of the string. So to pass the start position in substring method, I can first get the length of the string and then will minus it by 2 to get the last characters. In this case, length function is gonna return the value as 7. And if I subtract 2, then start position becomes 5. And the substring method will return the string starting from the position 5, which is gonna return the last 3 characters of the string. Then we have another string function called as concat. Let's suppose you want to concat 2 strings to get the desired values, then you can use this method to concat the strings. You can pass the n number of strings into the function as an argument. And this function will return a single string, that is the concatenation of all the strings passed to the function as an argument. So these were the most commonly used functions while creating the XPath. You can utilize these functions in writing your XPath. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe the channel. Also, please don't forget to click on the bell icon. Thank you.